Let's get serious. Let's get serious. SERIOUS. Never and never and never again.
So my name is Emily. I am the brand manager for G.I. Joe. I use she and her pronouns, and I am so excited to be joined by three of my amazing team members. Let's start with Corey. Please introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi guys, I am Corey. I am the 3D sculpting manager. I go by he, him, and I work on G.I. Joe Classified series.
Hi guys, I'm Lenny Panzica. I'm principal designer of the G.I. Joe Classified series, and I go by he, him pronouns.
Hi everybody, I'm Tony, the master model artist on G.I. Joe Classified. He, him.
You can have two. Fucking you.
Thank God it's
Well, unusually, folks, I am kicking off with a story that has nothing to do with pop culture, but because of the ideology that's been spoken about in this story, which is obviously permeating entertainment in ghastly ways, and boy, when you see my next story after this one, you'll be thinking to yourself, Jace, why do you tell us these things? Because, my friends, my fandom, my subscribers, and don't forget to hit that like button below. It's what I do. You know, I'm a based male and I need to tell you these things. So the National Hockey League players are opting out of Pride Night events, more like Fright Night. Concerns grow about the league's commitment to change. Players are refusing to wear Pride jerseys. Comes as hockey faces a reckoning over toxic culture in sports. Now look, there are a few sporting events I watch, and all of them have a degree of toxicity in them. It is the name of the game, as ABBA once sung. Now, women's football, I don't take that seriously in the slightest bit. I mean, good for the females. They're out there kicking the ball on the pitch. But for me, it's always been a man's game, and that's it. And yes, you got the lingerie American Football Women's League, which I absolutely love for all the correct reasons. But I find this really, really interesting. So Canadian NHL players Mark and Eric Stahl are the latest to join a handful of others who are refusing to wear Pride-themed warm-up jerseys in support of the LGBT community. It's ignited a debate over inclusivity and personal freedom in pro hockey. So it's the warm-up jersey. You're not going to be wearing the actual team logo and emblem when you're playing your games. I understand that, but there seems to be this stranglehold over sports at the moment where you have to incorporate things happening in the outside world. To me, if you're watching something like the Super Bowl or a big Major League heavyweight boxing event, you know, you paid so many thousands of pounds to be at the ringside seat. The last thing you want to see, and I can recall, is it Prince Nassim Hamhead, where I think it was his penultimate or his last fight, and this was televised on national TV. He came out then, because he's a Muslim, he had to do this chant or praising Allah for the 5 or 10 minutes. And I sat there looking at my dad thinking, I just want to watch a boxing match. I want to see what's going to happen. I don't need to see this. It didn't make any sense. And it's amazing that the broadcaster, it might have been ITV, allowed that to go ahead. I was astonished. So, and you know what? Sports in America, it's a multi-billion, maybe trillion-dollar event. Do you think all these sporting organizers are going to be strangled into showcasing Pride-themed events just to make their gay fans or their LGBT fans more at home? What's going to happen when you have an LGBT player joining a hockey team, an all-male hockey team, but it's a trans man who is now part of that team? Do you see what I'm going with this? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I don't think organizations like the NHL should be held accountable for not wanting to go along with this. Some of the players are Christians, they're conservative, and apparently if you think that way, you're an enemy of the people, folks. I find this whole thing about sports being infiltrated with these pride-themed events and everything else to do with that. Remember when BLM happened and you had players taking the knee? I just thought that was one of the most cringe-inducing things I'd ever seen. Why do you feel obliged to take the knee? For what reason? Especially if you're not black and you're another color and you still, what is it? Are you bowing down in solidarity? Is that what it is? Because you have an affection for your brother of another color? You could just have affection for somebody regardless of what their color is. Isn't that the whole point of humanity and human existence?
Commercial time.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you. That will be all.
Thanks.
If you think that story was cringe-inducing, this probably takes the cake. The CW's The Flash. I mean, again, this story and the title of that series may be the worst juxtaposition I've come across. Like, the first 2 seasons of The Flash with Grant Gustin were really good. I really got into it. Of course, as time went on, well, we know what happened. So The Flash goes full G mode. I'm not going to say that word. Let's just associate it with what we used to know the term as back in the 90s. Grooming products, shaving products. Of course, that word, the G word, has now taken on a much more sinister tone. It pushes multiple objective lies, including hashtag trans is beautiful, you're beautiful, and protect trans kids. Dear, oh dear God. So the CW's Flash series went full, you know what, by pushing multiple lies while sharing a photo of white Benjamin Maines, the actor who plays the character Dreamer, also known as Nia Nall, and pretends to be a woman named Nicole Maines, who is that character, by the way, on its official Instagram account. The show's official Instagram account shows Maines dressed up in his Dreamer superhero costume, holding up a transgender flag. The image appears to be captioned by Maines himself, who writes, "That's my time, folks. Thanks for spending the day with me and hyping up Dreamer's return. Enjoy the episode," followed by the hashtags. Oh God, here we go. Jesus Christ. I don't even know if this actor's actually trans. I'm not really sure at this point. I really don't care. It's just enjoyable to see this stuff before my very eyes. Isn't that just awful? That reminds me of the Victoria Alonso story, because apparently one of the reasons why she got fired last week is because she refused to make a reprehensible edit in Ant-Man 3. What was the edit in question? Apparently there was a shop window that had an LGBT flag in it, and Marvel asked her to get that removed. And apparently she was so appalled that she was kicked out of Marvel and Disney. So I guess there are some silver linings on those clouds. Again, I've said it before, when it was at its most basest, it was because of Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki in Supernatural. Boy, is that show missed. You know what other show is missed? Friends. And the beautiful Jennifer Aniston. I mean, her and Lisa Kudrow, they were my 2 favorite women in that show. I mean, yes, they were honey blondes, they were absolute honeys. I didn't really care much for Courtney Cox. I mean, she was okay, but her character Monica Geller was always just a little bit insufferable, but she did have some funny moments within the show.
If you had to pick one of us to date, who would it be?
I don't know.
Me neither. Rachel.
I don't know.
Jennifer Aniston has acknowledged a whole generation of kids will find Friends offensive. You have to be very careful with comedy now. Now, of course, this is a very pivotal point that Miss Aniston actually makes. She is the goddaughter of Telly Savalas, who loves you, baby. And I think it's absolutely true. She's a base woman. I love Jennifer Aniston. She might stand up for certain people's rights, that's fine, but at least she acknowledges what the show Friends did for her and her colleagues. Yeah, Jennifer Aniston, she's been starring in comedies for nearly 30 years. The launch of Friends in 1994 and the upcoming release of Murder Mystery 2. I haven't seen the first one, but I might give this Netflix film a watch. And now she says it's all a little bit tricky because you have to be very careful, and it's really hard for comedians because the beauty of comedy is that we make fun of ourselves. We make fun of life. She's absolutely correct. In the past, you could joke about a bigot and have a laugh. That was hysterical. And it was about educating people on how ridiculous people were. And now we're not allowed to do that. And of course, she goes on to say that everybody needs funny. The world needs humor. We can't take ourselves too seriously, especially in the USA. Everyone is far too divided. Friends have been called out in recent years for its lack of diversity. Cast member Lisa Kudrow once made headlines for saying if the show ever returned or got rebooted, it will not be an all-white cast. Now, Lisa Kudrow wasn't being racist in that comment. She was just highlighting a very obvious thing. If you're going to recast Friends, you're going to have to make it a more of a mixed, eclectic group, because the original iteration of Friends would be deemed toxic now, because you can't sit down as a person who's brown, black, whatever, green, purple, if you go that way. And I think the other point that Lisa Kudrow makes here, which is very, very important, she said that the creators of Friends, David Crane and Marta Kaufman, had no business telling stories about people of other colors given their own backgrounds. I think that's a very good point to make. And then again, if you go to something like A Brother from Another Planet with the great Joe Morton, who directed that movie in 1984? John Sayles. Did Joe Morton, as a jobbing actor of color, have a problem with John Sayles directing him in his beloved low-budget movie? Of course he didn't, because he wanted to experience what it was like to work with somebody and not look at their skin color. Joe Morton is an awesome dude. But that's it, folks. Please enjoy your Friday, whatever you get up to. And you know what? Before I close this video today, I've got to mention this. I've had a bit of an up and down week where my personal situation has been concerned. I obviously enjoy making these videos, but there was an act of human kindness from one of my subscribers. Now, I'm not going to mention their name. They don't know I'm going to talk about this, and I'm just going to skate around it ever so gently. But this person gifted me, and I was so shocked by their generosity. I wasn't expecting anything at all. Why should I? And I was like, wow, there are some really good people out there. In fact, that person's act of kindness has really inspired me just to get better at this, or I probably am better at this already. I'm not. Who am I kidding? I love having fun here, folks. That's it. When you guys comment on my videos and you give me the thumbs up, it means the world to me. No, I'm not getting sloshy. I'm not getting sentimental. But honestly, despite this world crumbling around us ever so slowly, there are some good folk out there. Really based, good people. And if you're one of them and you know who I am when I'm talking to you, well, all I gotta say is I'm just absolutely speechless. I rarely get speechless, but that act of kindness was just, wow, that gave me the feels. I love it. And speaking of feels, you know what to do already. Hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, share this video, share it everywhere, please. Even send it to Joe Biden's mailbox. He might get a good laugh out of this. And if I were you, and if you were me, you better come back for the next video.
If one of you had to pick one of the other two guys to go out with, who would you pick?
No way.
I'm not answering that.
Joey. No way. I'm not answering that.